the address by our very dear and revered Swami Suviranandaji Maharaj, who is the General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Mutt and the Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Mutt. Revered Maharaj joined the Ramakrishna Order in 1973. After serving in Along in Arunachal Pradesh for long 18 years, first as the headmaster and later as the secretary of the institution, he spent 10 years as the head of our center in Deoghar in Jharkhand. Since 2007, Revered Maharaj is at the helm of administering the worldwide Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, first as the Assistant General Secretary for 10 years and as the General Secretary and Chief Executive of the Order since the year 2017. A popular orator and writer, Maharaj is also known for his administrative acumen, affable behavior, and genuine humility. I now request Revered Maharaj to kindly deliver his presidential address.
Namaste Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Sache Sukha Sarupayo Swamine Tapuharine. What we are here, why we are here. First thing is Ramakrishna Mission is a historical necessity. Ramakrishna Mission is a divine complicity. Ramakrishna Mission is not an accident. Ramakrishna Mission is an incident. Because history marches ahead. But sometimes while walking on the royal road, it gets into blind alley. And there, it doesn't know where to go and how to go. Which is why a personality like Ramakrishna and Vivekananda are necessary. It is precisely for this that Ramakrishna came, practiced all the religions as Santatmanandaji has just told. And then he had a mandate, a divine mandate from Holy Mother Bhavatarini, Divine Mother Bhavatarini. What was the mandate all about? She gave her many mandates. One of these mandates was very, very clear. You must start a Naya Dharma Chakra, a new wheel of a religion, a new man, a new religion, a new scripture. That's what Mother mandated to Sri Ramakrishna. And that's what Ramakrishna mandated to Vivekananda. So, our very distinguished panel of speakers here, Swami Sarvalokanandaji and others, I think personally, that here this evening we are here not to discuss religion. We are here to discuss how to go beyond religion. Religion, enough is enough. If you ask what is that phenomenon which has troubled and damaged to the maximum extent, the civilization, the world, the man, the milieu, it is religion. Which has done what is again that phenomenon, which has done immense good, the maximum good to the humanity? I think the answer again is same, religion. It's not the religion which is to blame, but the practitioners are to blame. Anyway, we have to transcend religion. Vivekananda says very clearly, it's good to be born in the church, but it's equally bad to die there. We are born in religion, but we must transcend beyond religion. And when we transcend beyond religion, when we go beyond religion, the question of peace, harmony come. It is ushered in. Today, this seminar is organized to discuss this subject, contribution of Ramakrishna Mission in ushering in world peace and harmony. In his fantasy, this book is named Brave New World. I do not know whether you have read this book. Brave New World. And this book has been authored by Aldous Huxley. What he says in this book, Brave New World, Huxley dreamt of the possibility in future of the production of millions of identical twins. Millions of identical twins, all of whom would think and feel in exactly the same fashion as the twins do. It has been possible today through advancement of science and technology. It is the latest mechanistic trend in bioscience which has brought worldwide resentment, but Aldous Huxley's vision of the future has become a nightmare, not a utopia. Swami Vivekananda, that's why declared much earlier, much before Huxley. What did Swamiji say? Swamiji said, and Swamiji says, the unity of sameness can come only when the universe is destroyed. So, if Swamiji ever happens to meet Aldous Huxley either in heaven or hell, I suppose, I imagine, Swamiji will tell him, oh old man, scrap your lot, your human experiment has become a failure. It has become a nightmare instead of being an utopia. The spirit of democracy in the world today is not a matter of equal opportunity to cultivate materialism or to be free to be dogmatic with only one religion. Democratic freedom must give people the freedom to transcend one's own religion and practices and experience the divinity of life through other religions too. Vivekananda declared once again, it is master of nature, what we call God. You cannot deny him? No, because you can't move or live without the idea of freedom. That's why you can't deny God. The master of nature, and that is the embodiment of freedom, and that is God. What is necessary, according to Vivekananda today, is that while each preserves his own individuality, he shall at the same time assimilate the spirit of others. I shall go, Vivekananda says, to the mosque of the Mohammedan. I shall enter the Christian's church and kneel before his crucifix. I shall enter the Buddhist temple, where I shall take refuge in Buddha and his law. I shall go into the forest and sit down in meditation with the Hindu who is trying to see the light which enlightens the heart of everyone. What the world needs today is a new genre of leaders who have got the universal outlook and broadness of a rational Advaitist, directed to the creation of a harmony of religions. Such a harbinger of new genre of humanity, Vivekananda found in his master, Sri Ramakrishna. Most of the sages, prophets, incarnations, are sons of God, like Christ, Muhammad, Buddha, Guru Nanak, Chaitanya, and Sri Ramakrishna. It is from Asia that religion has always flooded the West. Sri Ramakrishna had to face an India which was already ruled for 300 years by the Mughals and others, and which was again being ruled for the first time by Christians like English, French, and Spaniards. His historic task was to unite Hindus, Christians, and Muslims. And this is exactly what he did. That's why I think one Professor Hoshinur Rahman in Calcutta, he writes in a beautifully he writes in an illustrious essay authored by him, that if somebody asked me during last 200 years, who is the most perfect Muslim? I will say Sri Ramakrishna. If somebody asked me that during last 200 years, who is the most perfect Christian, I will again say the same name, Sri Ramakrishna. If somebody asked me that during last 200 years, who is the most perfect Hindu, I will again mention the same name, Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna is infectious. Some religion is aggressive. Some religion is proselytizing. But the most dangerous is the religion of Sri Ramakrishna in the modern times, because Sri Ramakrishna's religion is infectious. Once you get into it, you can't escape from it. In Sri Ramakrishna, the world saw the sunlit heights of Vedanta, the religion where the entire humanity finds a common nest. The Upanishads had dreamt of such a world which would become a common nest for humanity. Jatra Viswa Bhavati Ekanidam. The American author Claude Allen Sturr, in his book on Ramakrishna entitled God of All, wrote, I quote, I pay tribute to Sri Ramakrishna's device to attain intimacy with Buddhist, Muslim, and Christian life. Ramakrishna's approach to the religious pluralism of mankind may play an important part in bringing about peace in the world and cooperation among other religions. Vivekananda professed it. He said, the idea of harmony of religions, the idea of universal acceptance and universal tolerance will be a great acquisition to civilization, which is why Mr. James said, Vivekananda is a rare honor to the humanity. Somebody wrote a book. I do not know how many of you have heard about it or read it. The book was published from Harvard University in 1993. The author of the book is a scientist couple from Harvard University, Mrs. and Mr. Illinois Turk. And the name of the book is very strange, The Gift Unopened. In the introduction of the book, the scientist couple, they write that 100 years back, Christ sent us a gift, but we were so casual about it that we did never bother to untie the red ribbon, to open the packet and see what it was all about inside the packet. What was the gift? It's better late than never. Come and let's untie the red ribbon, open the packet and see what it is all about. Well, the ribbon was untied, packet was opened, the gift unopened became gift opened, and what it was all about. Vivekananda, Vivekananda, and Vivekananda all through. And that's why they started their book. The very first sentence of the first chapter of that book, Gift Unopened. They say, if Columbus discovered the soil of America, Vivekananda discovered the soul of America. Vivekananda didn't only discover the soul of America, Vivekananda discovered the soul of the world. Which is why, a few months back, the head of the Department of Modern History, Oxford University, you must have heard her name, Ruth Harris. Mrs. Ruth Harris came to me to have an access into our museum, archives, and also speak to me regarding certain points she wanted to speak. And then this Miss Harris now has published this book, very voluminous book, and it is published by Cambridge University by late April this year. And do you know what is the title of that book? The title of the book is The World Guru Swami Vivekananda. The World Guru Swami Vivekananda. And when I asked Mrs. Ruth, well, Mrs. Ruth, how many people in Oxford do know Vivekananda? She smiled and she told me, well, Swami, you better ask me how many people in Oxford do not know Vivekananda. Everybody knows Vivekananda. I got a call from Consul General's office, Consul General of China, stationed at Kolkata. So he wanted an appointment with me. And then he came. And then when we sat together over a cup of tea, I asked what's the purpose of your coming and meeting me. I asked this because the gentleman is here in Kolkata for a long time, but did never come to me and talk to me. So he told that I am coming to meet you at the instance of the highest political leadership of my country. We have reached a great as far as material prosperity is concerned, as far as material attainment is concerned. But we are face to face with a very intriguing, almost seems to be unsurmountable problem. And that's why my leadership has asked me to talk to you, try to find out a way to sort out this unsurmountable difficulty as it appears. What is the difficulty you are speaking about? I asked. And he told that, look, there is a crunch of values, value deficit, tremendous value deficit among the young boys and girls going to the university and the colleges in China. And our highest leadership, political leadership, feels, they strongly feel that Vivekananda is the answer, which is why they have sent me to you to work out a package so that we can come over this very, very pressing situation which we must avert and come over. And that's what it is. Vivekananda is creating ripples in Atlantic. Vivekananda is creating ripples in Pacific. Vivekananda is creating ripples in Mediterranean Sea. Vivekananda is creating ripple in the Arab Sea. And we heard the notorious, Huang Ho, which is always dry. But then now we find the flood coming in Huang Ho, flood of Vivekananda. China says, we want Vivekananda. They say, we learned socialism not from Karl Marx or Lenin, we have learned socialism from Vivekananda. As Vivekananda is the most revered philosopher in India, as Vivekananda is most revered philosopher in the whole of Asia continent, in China also, the man, the philosopher whom we revere most is Swami Vivekananda. Which is why today we find ripples, as I have told, in all the oceans, all the seas, all the major rivers of the world, and that is Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Today we speak of women's rights. In 1964, wonderful, though not wonderful, but then very strange incident took place in Hollywood. What was the incident all about? It was the wee hours of morning. Christopher Isherwood was the disciple of Prabhupanandaji, the founder of our center in Hollywood. Prabhupanandaji told Christopher that you go to the editors and make sure that tomorrow is Master's birthday and that is printed in the engagement column in every newspaper. With all his command, with all his influence, Christopher couldn't see his master's proposal through. He came back to report to his master in the evening. Tears were rolling down the cheeks of his master. And then Christopher went back because tomorrow is the master's anniversary. And he must be the first visitor to his guru. In the early morning, Christopher came. At that time also, his guru, tears were rolling down from the cheeks of his guru. His guru, as though, was weeping. Christopher Isherwood said, Master, couldn't control you overnight. Master staged. His voice is choked. He staged all the newspaper that was on his table on that morning to Christopher. There was not a single newspaper in America that day which unconsciously didn't print the photo of Sri Ramakrishna. In every newspaper, the first page of the newspaper saw a man from the east. They didn't know who he was. What happened? In the wee hours of the morning, one 19-year-old girl, she said she besmeared her entire body with petrol, set herself ablaze. Don't know how she was hanging from the branch of a tree nearby the petrol pump. But her two hands were intact. In her left hand, there was a placard. In her right hand, there was a photograph. In the placard, she addressed that, oh, women leaders, the way you are steering your movement, I'm absolutely sure you will not get women's liberation within the next 1,000 years. If you are sincere about your movement, look to this man from the east. And the right hand carried a photograph, and that photograph was of Srimat. Naturally, we again go to Soviet America. We have heard the secretary of our center there, Lilinia. Many of you must have heard about Swami Lokeshwarananda. Swami Lokeshwaranandaji had been to Soviet Russia on the occasion of 1000th anniversary of the Orthodox Christian Church there in Russia. Lokeshwaranandaji was in a hotel. The chairman of Academy of Literature, chairman of Literary Academy of Soviet Russia, he went to that hotel. He told Swami, we had been to Calcutta and we were your guest, and we are overwhelmed at the warmth of your hospitality. I came to know that you are in the city, which is why I thought I must come to the hotel and I must reciprocate your gesture. Lokeshwaran told, well, I do accept your invitation, but see that there are not many people because you do not know much of English and I do not know much of Russian. It will be difficult to interact. And what happened? He is a very important man in Soviet Russia's scheme of things. Naturally, he couldn't manage with less than 50 persons. And when Lokeshwarananda was sitting and talking to others, one lady came, 109-year-old, having no tooth in the jaw, absolutely having no tooth in the jaw, with a stumbling stick in hand. And when she came, somebody introduced that lady to Lokeshwaranandaji. And he told that she is so-and-so, 109-year-old. Lokeshwaranji immediately stood up. And this lady is telling in faltering English, Swami, please take your seat. Time and again she is telling. Then after 2-3 times, Lokeshwaranji reacted, ma'am, I can't take my seat before you take your seat because of 2 considerations. Number one consideration is, had the lady who has given birth to me been alive today, she would have been junior to you. So, she would not have been 109-year-old. So this is the first consideration. And the second consideration, that I belong to an order of monks. We belong to an order of monks. The order which believes that every woman is divine incarnation of Divine Mother. There is Sita in every woman, there is Ram in every man. And that is the belief that our order carries on as legacy. Which is why, because of these 2 considerations, it's not possible for me to take seat before you take your seat, ma'am. This lady came, and then in a faltering voice, in broken English, she's telling, you belong to Ramakrishna. Lokeshwaranji said, yes, ma'am, I belong to Ramakrishna order. You belong to Ramakrishna. Swami, you belong to Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna is so pure. How can I take my seat before you take your seat, Swami? Who was this lady? She was the private secretary to Vladimir Lenin in Cultural Revolution which took place in Russia in 1917. Lenin, who championed the slogan, religion is opium. His private secretary says, Ramakrishna is so pure, how can I take seat before you take your seat, Swami? And then the chairman of Literary Academy, he became enthused. And then he begged a few minutes from Srimanandaji. Then Srimanandaji told, look, you should not be very much, delighted. You delayed. You must come as early as possible because in your absence it is very difficult for me to interact with the gathering here. He went with a promise that he will come within few minutes, but he came after half an hour. And he carried 2 albums in his hand. And when he carried 2 albums in his hand, he was excited. He was inspired to see this lady. And then he said, Swami, I beg to be apologized for having been late. Because these albums contain so pure things. I thought I must have had a thorough wash before I touched these albums. He gave both the albums to Srimanandaji. What this album contained. What was there all about in these albums? It was full of Vivekananda's photographs. The chairman of Literary Academy of Soviet Russia thought that Vivekananda's photographs is so pure, so sacred. One must have had thorough wash before he touches me. And then, let's come to Vatican. Srimanandaji was invited by John Paul II to speak on Sri Ramakrishna and Christ. It was an coincidence that it was 24th of December. And then from Vatican radio, only Pope can speak. But he extended this courtesy, this prerogative to Swami Srimanandaji. And what did he say? When Swami Srimanandaji spoke, he sent for him. And Srimanandaji thought Pope is the emperor of the hearts of 1/3 of the total populace of the world. And I belong to a very small order of monks, maybe unknown to Pope. So he didn't say, I belong to an order of monks, his Ramakrishna mission. He didn't say, I belong to Ramakrishna mission. He said, I belong to an order of monks, which is the smallest, the poorest, and the youngest order of monks in the world. The smallest, the poorest, and the youngest order of monks in the world. Pope stood up, John Paul II, and told Swami, you belong to Ramakrishna mission. I know everything about you. It is true, you are the smallest. You are the poorest order of monks in the world. It is true. It is true. You are the youngest order of monks in the world. But spiritually today, you are the most powerful order of monks in the world. Because Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, one can still see. They talk to you. They are with you. They are amidst you. And naturally, spiritually, you are the most powerful order of monks in the world today. And that is what is happening around the globe. Which is why Swamiji told, India must rise. Swamiji's prophecy never failed. Swamiji told, Russia will rise and fall. Swamiji told, China will rise, but it will fall. But India must rise. But with one condition. What was the condition? Condition was that India must sit at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. India must sit at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. If they can do that, then India must rise. And when Swami Vivekananda spoke of sitting at the feet of his master, Sri Ramakrishna, did he speak of Sri Ramakrishna the person? No, absolutely not. Never. Swamiji was so objective. Swamiji was so practical. Swamiji was so impartial. Swamiji was so positive. Swamiji never mentioned the name of his master in the West. To that extent, when somebody asked about his master, he said, the name of my master is L-O-V-E, personified. Which is why Swami Vivekananda, when he speaks that it must sit at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda only hints that it must accept the inclusiveness of Sri Ramakrishna. India must be able to accept the inclusiveness of Sri Ramakrishna. Holiness, purity is not the exclusive possession of a religious community, can never be. And that's why there must be a process like this, a dialogue and interfaith, dialogue how to usher in peace, and that is exactly what Ramakrishna Mission is doing. And to wrap up, I will cite one personal example. Recently I had in Bangladesh, a couple of years back, I went to Bangladesh to a place called Bagherhat. And then there is a very old masjid mosque. And as a matter of curiosity, I thought I will go to that mosque and pay my regards there. And when I went, then what happened, do you know? One man came and told that today there is no entry of non-Muslims to this mosque because some Muslim saint will come here. I didn't contradict that position. I was coming back. One man came running behind me. And he told, Swamiji, are you from Ramakrishna Mission? I said, yes, I am. Please come. He doesn't know. He is a fool. Please come with me. He took me to the mosque and took me inside. And recently, a Muslim leader came to me. Muslim leader in Calcutta, he came to me and then he prostrated. And then he told, Maharaj, I have come to you with a very, very strange proposal which I am sure you will not refuse. You must tell me what you actually propose me to do. Then only I can say whether I do or I do not do. He told that when Vivekananda was alive in Belur Math, at that time, one man, a philanthropist, he was not a saint, he was there in Furfura Sharif in Hooghly district in Bengal. And now what happens, he established lot of institutions right from KG to universities all over Asia continent. And we are through the centenary. We are through the centenary of that organization. And we had an opinion poll. We had an opinion poll amongst the boys and girls reading in colleges and universities all through Asia. And what happened? I asked him. He told 80% of our young boys and girls going to the universities and colleges, they opined that the chief guest in our central function to be held in Netaji Indoor Stadium in Kolkata with lakhs of people, the chief guest must be the General Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission, none else. And that is where we are, which is why Ramakrishna Mission during last 125 years has worked and worked towards world peace. And that is why let us go back to Federico Mayor, the Director General of UNESCO, who told that it is strange. We are wonderstruck to see the sagacity and farsightedness of a man called Vivekananda. We have established UN, and just 50 years before that he established Ramakrishna Mission, and the bylaws of Ramakrishna Mission is 100% equal to the bylaws of the Charter of United Nations. And Swami dreamt of this 50 years before we did. And Swamiji is condensed India. Swamiji came for India. Swamiji lived for India. Swamiji is still with us for India. But then Swamiji at the same time is universal too. And which is why we are here this beautiful evening to celebrate that clarion call of Vivekananda for world peace, for world harmony. With these few words, I would request all of you to study Vivekananda. Rabindranath says, Tagore said, if you study Vivekananda, you know India. If you want to know India, you must study Vivekananda. And on this evening, let us go back. Let us go back with our pledge, with our loyalty, with our allegiance renewed to this person, the hero for next 1500 years in this world, a man called Vivekananda, that Swamiji we live for thee, we die for thee. With these few words, I wish you all the best. Before I wrap up, I must express very deep gratitude to Swami Sarvalokanandaji, the head of this center, for having remembered me and invited me and having given me this beautiful and excellent opportunity to be here amidst you today and share some of my thoughts with all of you. I pray to Swami Vivekananda, that Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukhamapnamat. Let all be happy. Let all be free from ailments. Let all be blessed with the vision of truth, beauty and goodness, peace and harmony. Let misery touch none. And then to conclude, I must salute to the General of the Militia, to which I am a humble soldier, Swami Vivekananda. To conclude, let us salute our beloved Swamiji Maharaj. Like a young Napoleon of Vedanta, Vivekananda stood on both sides of the Atlantic. Like a young Shankara, he radiated the power and bliss of self-knowledge. With Mira's devotion and Beethoven's exuberance, he sang paeans of praise to all saints and sages, to all gods and prophets. Like a young prince, he charmed and elevated whoever came to him. Like a young Buddha, he could and did enter into the highest transcendence of Nirvana, the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, either at Camp Parsi or London, in the very presence of his listeners. Like a young Christ, he lay stretched on the pyre that he lit for himself after a life of superhuman struggle for the good of humanity. Like a young Shiva, he entered his habitual realm of transcendence after drinking the poison of human suffering. This is the finale, the grand finale of Vivekananda's life. It remains and will remain an eternal symbol of purity, service, and renunciation in the fullness of divinity and perfection. His gospel of a new religion, a new man, and a new structure is being preached through his dream mission, which is named as Ramakrishna Mission. With these few words, I thank you, all of you, gentlemen and ladies present here this evening, the devotees who have been so kind to me for giving me a patient audience at this crucial juncture. Thank you so very much.